Scott, thank you very much for the introduction and giving everybody an overview. I'm doing my audio check. Everybody, I hope you're able to hear me. Please let me know. There is a little bit of background noise at the office, but it should disappear any minute. Brad, are you?
Yeah, hey, Commissioner, I can hear you.
Thanks. Commissioner Gordon, at your service. We got a heck of a webinar today for you ladies and gentlemen. So let's start with the standard disclaimer. Trade Ideas, as you should be aware, is not a registered investment advisor. All the information that will be provided by myself, Brad, and everybody else that's a part of Trade Ideas is just for educational and informational purposes only, and is not a solicitation to buy or sell securities. So, Brad, this is our Wednesday Q&A session. The format, and by the way, it doesn't matter if you are a Trade Ideas customer or not, we're going to keep things in a way that you're going to see why we're the fastest growing subscription service in finance. So, KISS. We always start with something that's a theme to this webinar. And Brad, I mean, we've heard this. KISS is an acronym for Keep It Simple, stupid. And it was done by the Navy in the 60s, and the idea is that if the more you can make things complicated, and by complicated, think of this as an example. How many indicators are you looking on in a chart? Or, you know, how many lines do you need to draw? What is the process by which you go to making a decision? The more steps there are, by design, the more complicated it is. And what we're going to focus today is how we can minimize those steps, get you to where you need to be faster to take advantage of the data that you're seeing.
Hey, Dan, it's kind of a good overall theme in life, too. I mean, you know, keeping it simple kind of keeps it.
There you go, spoiling here, right? Brad, that's what I was going to say at the end.
Sorry, buddy.
Okay, guys, well, that's it. It's over. It's good advice. No, I'm teasing. Absolutely. I mean, it's good for everything. But I really do want to point it to the methodology that we support of how can you get access to the most important information that you specifically, you, not me, you need to make the decision. So Trade Ideas, we have a formula for this. It's not supposed to be magic. There is a formula to it. Let's start with the formula, Brad. Step one in the formula is having some foundation, a commonality, okay? So what you're seeing here is, by the way, one of the best things that we do and what really differentiates Trade Ideas is that we kind of constantly maintain a best practices forum of how to engage with the technology, capture alpha out of the technology, and this is a meritocracy. And what that means is that the best are brought to the surface by the community. There's anywhere between 500 and 600 people here every day, and Barry Anderson, who is a fantastic moderator with a heck of a lot of trading experience and temperament that my wife wishes I had, leads the room and helps people understand how to utilize this technology to capture alpha. What's kind of really important in terms of what Barry does is that Barry's probably, Brad, the most recent person to kind of go full circle. He had started himself as a customer of Trade Ideas and really saw how it transformed his process. And as we started to kind of talk and talk and talk, he really presented us with a case, and we brought him on board, and again, and the rest is history. So, and it's the same thing. Our formula is have this community showcase to you and answer to you what you need to focus on. Number one, it's free. It's available to everybody. It's very, very simple. There's no configuration. There's no nothing. It's very screen. You get to see the screen. You interact with people, and you see what's happening by the people who have to basically pay attention to the things that give them money.
And by the way, Dan, he's making live trading calls throughout the day. It's a pretty phenomenal thing to watch, and you maybe kind of glossed over it, but he is a fantastic trader.
No, Barry's really good, and I'm only reminding I mean, there are tons of people here who are already taking advantage of this, and there's nothing that I'm saying that everyone is not aware of. I'm just simply reiterating the fact that a lot of times it's the simple things that actually change everything. And Brad, I want to equate this back to golf. And, you know, by the way, Barry happens to be a really good golfer too, although he doesn't play anymore, to be frank. The grip, right? Everyone tries to like get the best driver and everything else, but it's that the little contact that you have with the club sometimes is the most important part. And you want to start with a good grip. This is the good grip. It's free. It's available to you whether you are or you're not a subscriber, and you get to see how people take money out of the market. That's number one to keeping it simple with us. Okay. Number two, let's minimize. So you have, this is, by the way, for those of you that don't know, you're seeing Trade Ideas, and I'm parked on our channel bar, which is our artificial intelligence engine. You can channel surf to your heart's content, and you know, you can be on the social media channel to investigate in the morning. You can be on the pre-market channel. Notice that I'm not right-clicking and setting up and configuring, doing anything like that. I'm just simply surfing and clicking. It's point and go, and then you're letting your mind drive. You know, instead of thoughts driving, and again, going back to golf, you don't want to think about it, you want to kind of let it come to you. So something will catch your eye, you'll bring it up, you're like, oh, okay, I see why I caught this. So this is what best practices is. Now, how people do that varies. Some people surf, like I do, and some people, for example, like Barry, our moderator, he has his own set of custom windows that he designed that, by the way, everyone who's a Trade Ideas customer can use. And it's the ones that, again, that he has created to kind of showcase how he best utilizes the tech. So this is all, by the way, of course, again, all for your discretionary type of trading, where you can just see something, make an inference, and say, oh, is this or isn't this something that I'm interested in? The idea is to not overthink about, well, what does this company do? Why is it doing that? What are its revenues? Because you, in the securities business, in the investing business, in the alpha capture wealth hacking business that is active investing, it's the best thing out there, where you have the freedom to exit. I cannot underemphasize this enough, Brad. It's something that people really just simply overlook. Where else can you throw in $100,000, then instantly, and like 1 minute later, take that $100,000 back into cash, and possibly, again, a minute later, have more than the $100,000. That doesn't happen anywhere. In real estate, nowhere. Legal, forget it. But people often spend too much time worrying about things that they can't control, like the revenues and margins. But what you can control is how you can react to behavior of the stocks. So we have put ourselves into a position to take advantage of things that are behaving in a way that lets us ride large percentage increases or decreases, depending on which way that we're going. Our approach to the stock market is the same approach, and I've said this probably, Brad, on every single webinar. Our approach is the approach of the MIT card counting team in bringing down the house books, where you count cards, but in our metaphors, you count ticks and statistical patterns to see which patterns are behaving and are kind of the ones that are forming, like what kind of weather system to expect. Is it rainy? Is it windy? Is it sandstorm? Is it humid? These are the kind of things that we metaphorically see underneath the data with our technology, and this is what differentiates Trade Ideas from everybody else. The artificial intelligence is basically taking all of the things that we ourselves have learned to do by hand and having it be programmed by a computer that then also monitors risk through rules that it has learned, and also does intense overnight statistical analysis to see which things should they even be bothering with. So let's talk about the fact people often ask us, what is the best way to take advantage of this information? So there are a couple of different ways to do it, and Brad, I want to kind of discuss them and basically talk in reference to the initial thing about keeping it simple. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to actually show you and go over stocks that you should be aware of, that are behaving the way that you must be aware of, because they've got what we call potential energy. Okay? That means that their behavior looks like the kind of behavior that's right about to start getting and going. And we've seen tons of these things before, so we know what we're looking for. It's not human, it's mathematical. And I want to reiterate one last thing, Brad, before we go through the examples, is probably the best market to be in right now for the individual investor, primarily because look at the spread. And what I mean by the spread is you've got the S&P, which basically went down and up and did roughly nothing today, while we had AI that was hunting specific statistics and on both risk on and risk off did incredibly well. This is the advantage that you have. I mean, it's technology that simply just did not exist that long ago. And the percentages that we are specifically hunting to find, like Brad, one of the things that I love about this move in PCYG was that it's actually still pretty low volume. And that's another thing that we're going to discuss, because as one of the showcasings for this webinar, Brad and I have a brand new window to show you and to share with you, as well as show you what we've got going on with the HTML5. So lots of exciting stuff. So to bring it back, for those that don't know, for those that do know, REI is an analyst that tells you during the day what to buy and what to sell. And you follow it, and in theory, you could have these results or close to them, sometimes even better, because we not only give you the signals, but we give you an ability to work around the signals. Okay, so the first trade that happened today was a long trade in SGMS, and it ended up being a 25-cent winner. It was a very nice trade. The AI, I mean, you can again look at this spike in volume and what we have seen before many, many times called the void fill. Okay, so talk about keeping it simple. I'm going to move this, by the way. Let me actually get rid of it and make it easier for everyone to see. So psychologically speaking, myself and everybody on the team, and Barry, I would say maybe 100 million, billion times, we've talked about this thing called the psychological void. When a stock goes from here on some news and then goes here, there's a lot of pain. But when it starts to get back into that mode, the people that sold off here are feeling very stupid. And so they want to get it back. And there's a lot of kind of like gamesmanship and momentum shifts that you were able to take advantage of. And it looks like this, and it's beautiful. Our software catches these things early because not only is it looking for that statistical movement, but who the heck is going to be paying attention to SGMS unless they're paying attention to everything? So think about that for a minute. You know, this AI and our technology, we are paying attention to everything. It's mind-boggling the amount of data that's coming through this, but the beauty is just like the Google navigation and the satellite, you don't need to worry about it. That's the part of the KISS. Notice, and Brad will show you, and Barry and I, we don't specifically argue, but we discuss this all the time, where I say, look, my charts are clean, because what I've learned, and I'm very successful at this, having done it since the mid-90s, is that the more things you put in to distract from the actual movement, the less you see. I kind of really visually want to see all these little blips, and it tells my subconscious a certain kind of feeling that maybe I key off on this kind of slope right here. It doesn't matter. To each his own. This is the art part of the game that you cannot science away. Will you or won't you do it? Okay? The AI is telling you to, but you will have to agree. You know, and in order to agree, you need to be able to understand what are the risks, how much money you have. That's the personal part of the trading game. What is your account size? You know, when you have a stock that goes up from 9 to 10 very quickly, it can also come down. You have to be able to deal with all of that. Okay. Notice the AI also trades different types of stocks. It's not just for the small or just for the big. It's specifically looking for statistical advantages. Okay. And here is one. And by the way, we had a bug in the development version, so you don't see the blue arrows. They're coming back. I just happened to be, I'm just going to kind of go over through it.
You can still see those annotations on the right, right? So that blue 7572 shows you where we got into that particular section.
So all the blue entries is where the entry price was. Brad, thank you, and a very good call. Again, a pretty nice trade there considering everything. The percentages, you know, they're just nice high.
Hey Dan, may I suggest while you're going through these that we kind of introduce to the users that don't, or at least aren't aware of the premium functionality that we have with the price alerts, because you know there are a couple of things you can do with these signals. You can create your own watch list with them and watch them tomorrow or next week and kind of continue to do it, or you can use the price alert server that we have that allows you to visually on the chart set up a resistance level, a kind of a threshold, if you will, that when it gets broken, you're going to be notified. And so it's kind of a best practice of ours to go through these different Holly signals and put on the relevant price alerts.
So Brad, you have successfully shown everybody that I'm not needed.
You're absolutely needed, but this is it's a great piece of functionality, and it's something that Barry incorporates into his routine during the day. It's something that I look at every single day. It's just these types of signals, they have footprints, right? They're letting some type of pattern kind of unveil itself, and that pattern may not really mature that moment in time, and it just may happen a little bit later.
Consider this. I think another great way of picturing this, Brad, it's like a Post-it note. But this lets you digitally link yourself to the AI until you want to not be linked. So in other words, people often say, it would be great if I could automatically create a symbol list. Well, that in essence is what you're doing here. So every single stock that the AI was into today, you can kind of see potentially why it was in there. And if it believes that this is, and again, if it looks like, for example, for me, maybe because of the volatility, it doesn't look as interesting, and with the resistance here. So I'm going to skip this one, which you can. But this one is a completely different story. I love this, where it's almost like when somebody, Brad, shows you their hand a little bit, right? Something was going on here. It sure pulled back, but I want to know about it. And what I love, and even though people will almost say surely the other way around, is look at the volume. This is part of the showcased window that Brad and I are going to give to everyone, but it's really part of something that we notice, and it makes sense in terms of physics. I try to sometimes use humor because, well, first of all, if you're not having fun doing it, you really aren't doing it right. But I kind of give myself creative notes to remind me a little bit of like what I was thinking or feeling at the time. And the other thing that Brad was trying to say, but I'll have to show, is that everywhere you can kind of modify visually. I can bring it right down to the top of this candle, and now it's all set. So whenever this Credit Suisse income, whatever goes up, I'm going to be made aware. Let's look at another one. So this one, PTCT Therapeutics. Obviously, we all know that all of these therapeutic stocks with relative small floats, they're just very hot. Okay, so look at, it's been here before, pulled all the way back, but it's creeping. It's trying to go again. So I can give myself right here, and basically right above this level, and say, it's trying to test. And now it's safe. So again, I'm just continuing that simple best practices. You look, it may catch your attention, it may not. Like, again, I love that we have the ability to see some of the smaller names that are just ignored by everybody else. Okay, same thing here. Look, 284,000 is the perfect stock for the individual investor. That's where HFTs and hedge funds are not playing. Real buyers and sellers. So
and I was just going to say, you can also set up multiple price alerts on the same stock. It could be both, a couple long, there could be a short one, for downside movement. A lot of flexibility that we've incorporated into it.
Right. So one of the things that I kind of ignore, but I want to reiterate, is notice when I'm pressing on this, right? Everything is automatically linked and updated. And the whole idea is that whatever it is, you can quickly get some notion of what's going on. Well, here's a company that's got SGMS has $8 billion in debt, market cap of $75 million. You can revenue of $2.82 billion. I mean, you can kind of really maybe see why some of the things are happening, or at least like you can sort of understand. Like, Brad, for music terms, I'm like, is this East Coast hip hop or West Coast hip hop, or is this country? Like each one of these types of stocks, depending on their float and social and debt and cash and revenue formation, they all have like kind of like a genre. Brad, would you say that's a good way to say it?
Yeah, it's a good way. It's very unique, Dan. But you can also. No, I mean, there's so many different ways you can think about it, but this is really kind of a view to be able to really look at all the details of a stock if you want to focus in on it. And, a lot of that view has trade ideas specific data.
And the idea, too, is to help you be able to make this decision quickly. So look at this stock right here, QTNT. How can you not love it? Okay? You have to ask yourself that question. How can you not love it? 1, 2. This is real accumulation. Complete void filling. Okay, I'm fairly sure we've been in this one before too. Barry would remember more than I would, but I'm fairly sure this is not the first rodeo for Holly on QTNT. Either way, how could you not want to know if it keeps going higher? Because it doesn't take a lot to move this. Look at the potential. So again, I'm gonna just. Oh, okay, now we have another. Look at this. So if you look back a little bit further, and I do this all the time. So we are here in this micro mode. Look, there's a whole other void hunting right here. This thing could go. Okay, 100 market cap, 19 million. It's got some debt, but 22 million in cash. What the hell do they do? Laboratory for something or other. Okay, blood. Okay, blood. So yeah, that's all on the biotech front. You want to have now you know you will not miss it. That's the whole point. You will not miss it now. Holly brought it up to you. You might have not traded it, but you will not miss it. I love these kinds of patterns. Same thing. And as Brad said, in this example, I'm going to show you 2 ways. So here I've got an alert set for this stock when it starts to break out. But, what if there's a big down day? I'm going to say long again. Again, I could miss it on the up, but catch it on the down. And what we do here, this is called bracketing. Okay, so as Brad said, you really could have multiple different alerts for stocks. In fact, we're actually working on having the AI be able to work in helping you do that. So imagine you can also set one right here. I call this one great support. The idea is you've got this now like psychologically canvassed for either direction. And if it goes below here, you can also change your mind and go short. The idea is that you really are just saying, these are my levels. Now you put them in, and when you see them, you will know why you see them. Okay? So what I want to do now, real quick, Brad, is I want to bring this window into the room, or at least into the showcase. And this is a window that I plan on sharing, but it kind of goes towards what we ourselves are exploring with the artificial intelligence, which is where are the biggest statistical possibilities? Okay, a lot of it has to do with volume, a lot of it has to do with the kind of float, and this thing that we call efficiency. In other words, where is that sweet spot for how little money it takes to move something a lot? Okay, look at our little friend QTNT from Holly. There it is right here. But there's a whole bunch of other ones right here. And this is, again, you are first. Say hello to my little friend. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to show you how everyone is able to share information easily or trade ideas. I want to save or share to the cloud. And I'm going to say save and share. And now a link is going to appear where I can put this on social media, etc. I'm going to copy all. And then I'm going to go into the messages area. And there's a cloud link from everyone. So all of the subscribers now have this data. Okay, so that's one of the ways that we do this. So Brad, what I want to do is I want to go over some of these names and put in some alerts, because there's really some very, very interesting ones in here, especially for tomorrow, because let's face it, that's what we're really here to do, make money tomorrow now that the market's closed, right? But before we do that, why don't we let Scott come in, talk to everybody how we actually make money other than our good looks and speaking skills, and then we'll finish up with the Q&A after that on the web. Don't everybody clap all at once.
I'm not clapping. Is that my cue to come unmuted, though? Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and throw that slide up that talks about the pricing and the discount code. And, you know, a lot of you are aware that we're a software as a service company, so subscriptions are the core of our business. And we have two tiers. We have standard and we have premium. Standard includes a lot. It includes the charting, and it also includes your real-time data from the exchanges, so it covers your exchange fees. Also, both tiers include a full hour of one-on-one training. As soon as you sign up, just go to the support section, click on training, and pick the best time and date available on the calendars from one of our trainers like Steve, Andy, Jamie, and it's the best way to get a head start, and it's a really great thing to include. A premium, however, also gives you access to our artificial intelligence investment discovery engine, the price alerts, our odds maker backtesting tool, so you can do the same thing that Holly does, but just not as quickly or cover anywhere near as much data as she does. But it's a great way to also play with your own strategies and determine what's winning, what's not, and how to do it, and how to optimize your own as well. So that code that you see on the screen there, price alerts, it's all caps, it is case sensitive. You can use that to take an immediate 15% off your first month or year of premium, or 10% off your first month or year of standard. There's also a handout for you with this information, along with a bunch of handy contact information in the handouts panel of your GoToWebinar interface. So just go to like the GoToWebinar platform on your screen. There's a plus next to handouts. Click on that, and there's a link right there to download a PDF that make it easy to remember. You'll also receive an email with a link to the playlist where the video replay of this webinar is located, as well as a reminder of the discount code that's available to you, and you should use it before it expires. I go ahead and let Dan and Brad take back over now. They'll probably start taking some questions pretty soon from the audience as well. Guys?
Scott, thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to start finishing up the process, and what I want to do is, again, I want to just go over a couple of the names from Say Hello to My Little Friend. Number one, ICGR. I always like to just make people aware of these low-price stocks, because for individual investors, there's a lot of fun in here, a lot of alpha opportunities, big percentages, and relatively smaller risk. It's a pharmaceutical preparation company, 6.94 million in the float. And look at this move, okay? So that's a big percentage. We want to be alerted right here. And we're going to say very interesting. And for those of you that aren't subscribers, just write down the symbols, okay? Let's see, China, commercial, no, not this one. There we go. Global ship lease. Okay. Float 15 million. Okay. And you have to love these kind of like protracted turns where the pullback took place and it's continuing, and this is a real legitimate breakout. So we're just going to say legitimate breakout. Okay, then let's see, we've looked at this one before. I mean, this is not, again, not the first time we've been here, and it makes sense why these lists come up. So this one, you know, we've caught this move several times, and it's continued. And I would just change my alert and say this trend is going to be my friend if it keeps going past that. That's like an all-time high, and whatever it is that they're doing is working, and I think it's going to continue to go and fairly strong. So let's see here. There was another one that I know we're all been working with for a little while, MGT. I mean, I've been all over this one. We were the first ones, and it's starting again. McAfee was doing something. This is one where, again, you don't want to know the why or the prediction. You just want to be there for the behavior. Okay? So there it is. If it goes above these levels, there's going to be a big run. Big run. So there's interest. Now we know, and we'll take a stab at it. Let's see here. And love this. Okay. So again, TTNP, what I love about this, guys, is that this kind of is what I call the controlled risk. You know, there's not a lot of OB left or right in golf terms, and I love using my golf metaphors just to torture Brad. I love you. You look amazing. Safe. Brad, tell me you don't love TTNP. He's shy. Okay.
I'm sorry, I was unmuted. No, that does look pretty sweet, but also zoom out too. What are we looking at, you know, longer term? And I always like to get those, you know, multiple views. And wow, that's a good one.
This is the most beautiful of the wedge. I mean, we're playing with these areas, just a lot of opportunities. And what I love about the webinars here, especially for people who aren't subscribers, is you can write down TTNP. I mean, look at this setup. I mean, that just looks so good. I want to bring it up even higher. Like, for me, it's worth the risk to maybe even up here, you know, because then you've cleared this hurdle. Now it's like really off to the races. In fact, maybe do two.
Yeah, maybe even two. Put that feeder position in and then load up on it.
We'll say here, start small. And this way, because Barry says this one's his, he'll know it's mine for sure. Okay, so great question. So Laura, I hope I'm saying it right, asked, well, where do you see these alerts? How do they pop up? Well, number one, they appear, like if something happens, it'll appear as a pop-up. I actually have I've designed my own windows for that, and I'll bring them to you. Okay, so here I have my alerts that have been triggered. So these are the stocks that I've been alerting myself to, and how many points I've been able to accumulate over time since this particular go at it. And then if I go back, I'll show you the ones that I have that are the working versions, and the working are the ones, come on server, and the working are the ones that I have just been doing and been doing with everybody here. So I'll just sort by all the ones that I've just done. So TTMP and the GSL, the IGC. Okay, all of these are here. Brad, am I allowed to share these, or not allowed? Of course I'm allowed, but you know what I'm saying? Or does this cause problems yet, or did we resolve that?
No, what you can do is you can go ahead and just share the signals that you created today, and then that'll be fine. Anybody that adds that cloud link in. So you just highlight the date range.
So watch what I'm going to do is Brad directs me right click and share these 12 selected price alerts from today. And I'm going to say copy all and go right back to our link for everybody. And here it is. So all the ones that we've just done, like today's office hours, it's just been shared. So again, these are the ones that you have, and Laura, when they appear, they'll appear, this whole list will pop up, and you'll see like, oh, I've got one that triggered today. I've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4 that were triggered today. Let's actually see how I did. I've been all over the place, not always in front of the office. So Brad, always good to know. Let's see if your brain was on or off. So let's see, ONVO 406, not bad, right? TGS, okay, could have been, okay, XON, pulled back, but like right there, and XPLR, still pretty much, 20 cents.
So that ONVO, Dan, that one, triggered at 5:05. So that was a morning trigger before the market even opened, right? So it's nice that it'll alert you to this even before that first tick that you would see at the regular market session.
Oh, very good point. That's right. I mean, you're seeing the pre-market. You're seeing when the action's in it, even before. So what Brad and I are kind of showcasing here is that, and it may be one of these things where we'll probably should spend more of a session, or maybe Steve and Jamie will do that even more, but just to reiterate that this is basically your paper trading for swings, because you're bringing this stuff in here, you're seeing when it hit and how it works. So I can go and I see, like, for example, what's my best point move? I nailed this rent at 7:25. I mean, you gotta love it. Fang came to me, and again, see, like, you can do it in different ways, as we were showing you before. And here's me bracketing this one from before. It lets you know, it's the best kind of feedback that says, hey, I'm doing something that makes sense. If this number is negative, you know it's not working. And it's that simple, again, to the tune of keep it simple, stupid. That's it. Got a short, I mean, again, you can go in either direction. You think it's a top, the nice short on the Hoya Pharmaceuticals. So what Brad and I are going to do now, we've shared the lists. What we're going to do is we're going to give you guys a quick showcasing of what we've got going on the web-based development side, so that you can all see, first of all, again, this is our website if you haven't been. If you want to go to the live trading room that's available from the open to the close, basically, you go here and create your account there. Oops, sorry, I shouldn't have deleted that. And of course, we have a really nice little piece of technology that we've added recently where we showcase what the AI is doing compared to the S&P, and it's kind of happening all throughout the day in real time. So you can just kind of see where we are and what we do. We compare ourselves to the SPY, even though, again, SPY is kind of, you always know what those 500 stocks are. With us, we have to create our index from the scratch, which we believe is a little bit of a handicap. So this lets you know what's going on, but I'm going to now launch TI Pro Web. So I have a username and password, and you can log in using your Facebook or Google for 20-minute delayed data. So it's a good way to test things out. So I'm going to hit OK. I accept the terms, and let's rock and roll. So Brad, do I need to refresh something? Possibly.
Yeah, for you probably, because we did just, literally everybody can now get this new version. Why don't you go ahead and close your channel window here?
The whole, this one?
Yeah, the whole channel container.
Yeah.
And now let's open up a new one. Go up to the top part.
Right. But in the meantime, notice, so I have some free floating windows here, and I can just move them around. So you are now getting kind of like TI Pro functionality, but within the browser. And I'm going to go to New and go to Channels, and I'm going to now select, how about make it real, and go to After Hours.
Hmm. Let me make sure you have the right. Do a different one other than after hours.
Okay.
Sorry, buddy. That's my bad. Hmm.
Is it possible that we weren't ready for this demo quite yet?
Now let's go to here. Let me share my screen.
Okay, why don't you share your screen? It's usually something to do with the fact that Brad and I are always on some really advanced versions of this. So Brad, are you sharing now?
Yeah, 1 second here. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
It looks good to me.
Okay, so I'm going to blow it up here. Right now in the channel window, we have access to charts. So in addition to what Dan was showing you, or what he was really trying to show you, is that this version right here, if you go up to New, you can select Charts, and you would have our functioning chart window in it. But in addition to that, inside of the channels already built in, you can select any of the channels, and we've incorporated the charts into it. So if we were on Dan's computer, you'd have the channel window, and you'd have his other free-floating top list windows. But one of the great features of this is that the cloud sharing that exists between the application and the web. So you can create something very detailed if you'd like in the application and share it right in the web version, or similarly create something very detailed in the web version and share it with someone in the application. So real cohesive between the two.
No, I agree. And what's nice too is that you can now imagine using this information on an Apple, on an iPad, and it is not too far off for us to be bringing the AI to this as well.
So the one last step, and it's my bad, Dan, this link right here up at the top is just a smidge different than what you were using. Because we haven't told Scott yet to roll it live. So after this presentation, Scott will go ahead and make that link functional so that everybody then will have access to this new version. And it's pretty cool on your iPad. It works pretty nicely. Yeah, so, and then everything here with respect to the charting is interactive. And just like this channel window, if you want to take anything that we've created inside of any of these channels and make them your own, or incorporate it into your own particular layout, you can just right-click in here and select Pop Out, and then I can just grab that window, move it, and then incorporate that with my layout. Maybe go to another channel if I wanted this global sector view. Grab that, pop it out. Then I could close this overall channel window if I wanted to, and build my layout with the different windows that I wanted. If I want to duplicate this window, just like any of the windows, I can right-click, select Duplicate, change my time frame, right-click, time frame. So all the same functionality that exists in the application exists here.
Yeah, and Brad, by the way, all I did was I changed the name as per your link, and now everything works, and it looks really nice. I mean, we really will have a very different interface for the AI when we bring it to the web. So I think that's going to be very exciting. Brad, why don't we leave the rest of the time to answer people's questions if there are any, and see, what we can do on a more specific time frame.
Okay, so Mark is asking a question here about history. So let me just, I'm going to move to the application here and show you about history and how that works.
Yep.
In fact, let me just bring up an alert window. So there are different types of windows in the software. I'm going to bring up an alert window here. This happens to be new highs breaking out on volume, but it can be anything. I'm going to right-click in the window, select History, hover over Time Frame. So this right here is going to be the furthest point in time that I'm going to go back. So 12 a.m. midnight, that's going to be everything today. And that's going to be from this point on all the way to the beginning. Now, when I do this, I'm going to be able to incorporate 1,000 different events in this view. But then you can ask it for more if there happens to be more. If I wanted to take a look, let's say, at the first hour of the market, then I would type in 7:30 a.m. So this right here is going to give me the history for the first hour of the market. And then I can scroll back and I can see exactly everything that would have occurred had I been watching this window in real time. And then if it's a top list window, that's a little bit different, but you can just right click on the window, hover over time frame, and you'll want to use a historical date here as well. So you'll set that time for whatever particular time frame it was, or time period rather, that you want to look at. So I hope that helped you there, Mark.
Yeah, the ability to do anything, really. So Lance is asking about fidelity. I believe you probably can link the symbols to your fidelity.
Yeah, I think there's an application that Fidelity provides, and they do provide a couple different ones. We do link with one of them, and one of them I don't think we do. But let me show you how you do it real quick. This happens to be the Realtic platform. We have this tool called external linking. Just open it up here from the toolbar. I'm going to select Add Link, and then I'm just going to move my cursor right over to this symbol entry field on the chart, and I'm going to press and release my Shift key. Then I'm going to select this option right here, hit OK. It's kind of a one-time thing. Once you figure it out, it's really, really quick to do. I hit OK, and now I click on a symbol. My chart's inside of Trade Ideas Update, but also maybe the order entry panel or the charting of another program would update, maybe a news application or something like that.
Yep.
All right, Alice, so I did show how you do time for top lists. You right-click, time frame, use historical date. If I wanted to look at, it'll look at that 5-minute interval. So it's just not quite as accurate as an alert window, but this top list window, if I wanted to take a look at 7:30 this morning, now you can see the time here is referencing 7:30 to 7:34 on West Coast time, so it's an hour after the open, and this is what I would have seen, the symbols that would have been present had I been watching that window.
So Lance,
there's no time frame, Alice. There's no time frame for a top list window. It's a snapshot view that you get. If you want to look for a time frame, you can always take that top list window. You can collaborate it right here, copy that link, and you can open up an alert window, any alert window, and I'm going to collaborate that link right in here. Now I have to decide which alert I want to use to it, but this is how you would go ahead and translate a top list window into an alert window with the same filters that you have.
So, Brad, there's been a couple of good questions that we should answer. So, number one, Lance, we're not a broker-dealer, so we don't give you a per-trade cost. That is, we're like, again, we're the cable company. We're a subscription-based service, but your brokerage firm is who handles your trade. So that is not us. So in terms of Michael, how do you follow Holly? So what makes Holly so unique is that, we ourselves don't know what's going to happen, right? Holly can have 3 trades. She could have 23 trades. Holly was designed to be followed by a human manually. In other words, you do not need to have Holly connected to an Autobot or black box. In fact, we don't allow that specifically because we are intending and wanting people to be in the market, not to try to computer their trades while they're playing golf. So from that point of view, Brett, can you timestamp it, the Holly trades, so that they can see kind of what was the throughput from the morning? So we're on West Coast time, so that's why Brad's screen is that way. But Brad, put it up to the first trade at the top, so you can kind of see. Yep. Okay. So yeah, perfect. So you have 655 first trade. Okay. And again, this is not HFT style. So you can get into a trade. In fact, I don't know. I think Barry might have been in this one. Because again, I wasn't in the room all day, but he was in one of these early ones. I think it might have even been.
Yeah, this was a good runner because right when this signal went off, it really did take off about 50 cents worth.
But there was that. But do you see how there's that little kind of wedge area? It doesn't necessarily go in the first second. I mean, you can't really predict that level. So again, you have time. It's by design. You have time to get in. The next trade didn't happen until 7:11. That was the more expensive one. ICLR, again, the same thing. After that, it was 6 minutes, then 4 minutes later, then 13 minutes later, then almost an hour, then two very close to each other. I guess then 30 minutes, then, I mean, you can see it's 4 people. There's nothing here that a person can't follow. So that's how I would do it. I would just try to follow to your best ability with like 100 shares, but you don't necessarily have to follow everything either. I mean, that's part of the, the give and take. This is a
yeah. I think hey Dan, one of the things that's really specific to that right there is kind of how Barry treats it in the trading room. So really, if you want to know how to take these signals and make money with it, go to the trading room, because Barry doesn't take everything. But what Barry does do is when a signal occurs, it's on a watch list, and so it's something. This is like a top list window right here where you can manipulate the columns. This column right here, profit change over the last 5 minutes. It's interesting to let you know what stocks are starting to move. And so when you have it sorted here.
Direction. This is, again, you're never going to, sometimes it's like the grid, Brad. Who else is going to find a column like this that relates to their portfolio? Like how much has have these stocks that AI has gotten you into, which ones are moving the most in your direction now? So in theory, FNV, FRAN, and WLB, that's Brad's focus, because that's what's moving in his direction.
Yeah, and even though that Fran right here was a loser, right, and it continued to be down, it's when you start to see a turn like that, and I don't know that that's where the turn was, it wasn't, but this will start to alert you when you have some movement here. So it's just another good thing to know that's there. And other things, risk on profit. What symbols here have really yielded the most profit since the inception of that position. So that's another good data point to be aware of. But it's a stream, so it's a manipulation of this data, letting it come to you.
And also, Brad, if you can just minimize that to remind everyone that the whole day you're getting a signal of how do you behave, risk on and risk off. And let's say you came in today, here, put it back on or risk on for a second. So let's say you came in hypothetically when the AI was down because it was negative on risk on for a while. But when that thing turned positive again, it gave you an opportunity to basically have like a whole other day, and you would have seen that following the risk on numbers and how much the things are moving in your direction. So again, that data is there for you always. It's not just one and done. You can trade around these because, again, it's like you're trading around the things that actually have statistics behind them. It's again, going back to the keeping it simple and efficient.
So let me grab a couple of questions. Having more than one chart, so certainly you can. An easy way to do it is to open up a chart from the toolbar and then just duplicate it and then customize it to the way that you want to see it. That works exactly the same way in the web version.
So Michael, great question. So Michael says, does risk on mean staying in the trade for the day? Yes and no. Okay. So the way what risk on means is that stay in because volatility is playing in your favor. That doesn't mean that it's going to be necessarily the most profitable, but overall it means that volatility is being rewarded. That means you want to give it more room, not less. So in today's case, like, look at the trade-off. So Brad, go to risk off versus risk on. So look at your profit in risk off mode versus risk on mode. Like, you basically had no drawdown today at all. But in risk on, you have quite a bit of a drawdown, which again is opportunity, but I'm just saying if you're literally just going blind.
So it's a pretty interesting thing, and as you're watching this in real time, this happens to be the risk on view right here where you're holding that position. But there was a point in time where that risk on went below the risk off. Okay, that's when this bar will change, the risk off will turn on, it'll be bigger than the risk off will turn on, it'll be bigger than the risk on, and that's when it started to go down, and that's where Dan was saying, it doesn't mean you stay in it all day, it's giving you that data if you would have stayed in it all day, but as a trader and utilizing a stream, you got to use that information when risk on crosses below risk off as a potential exit point. But what he was saying is there were like 2 trading days. So you get out of your position when that crossover takes place, but when a turn starts to take place here and you start to see a lot of profit changes in the last 5 minutes start turning positive, and you start to see some turn here, that's when you have a whole nother trading day. And this actually was down almost $1, all the way up. That's a $2 swing right there.
Huge opportunity to stay and keep your attention on these stocks, which is what the Room and Berry does, as well as, again, just trading around the opportunities that present themselves. Brad, I think we're pretty good here. I mean, it's the AI, the symbol, and just basically then managed risk. Everything else is being done for you the way Google does search.
I'm going to do one more. Is that okay?
Sure.
One more, and this is for Laura, and this is with respect to executing trades automatically through a broker. Right now, we have a brokerage partner in Lightspeed. Soon, Interactive Brokers will be the second destination, but this is a little tool that's included with the premium subscription that allows you to really automate any alert signal that you create. So if you have an alert window, you can take that strategy either by a cloud link or a collaboration link, or creating it from scratch and dropping it into the strategies tab here. If I created it, you can set up the set of instructions for whatever that strategy is, and then have it automatically executed anytime a symbol is generated. And then once those symbols appear, we could open up like a position window here, and as soon as a position is automatically entered into, it'll be visible here. You can treat it like a gray box and manage it yourself, or you can treat it like a full black box. And every alert strategy through the odds maker has a time stop, a profit target, or a stop loss. So when one of those triggers, you're going to automatically be exiting out of that position.
This is the Tesla of analysis. And Brad is Elon Musk.
Are you sure that's not you, buddy?
Oh, no, I'm Elon's manager. Okay, so Brad, why don't we give me the screen. I'll give everybody all the details for getting in touch with us and everything else, and the codes, and we will call it.
Yes, I'm finding the commissioner now.
Okay. Let me see here. One second. Okay. So, to wrap it up, I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar. Hopefully you saw some really interesting names and a simple way that we approach the most powerful technology for idea generation. We are easily contacted. Twitter. I am at Trade Ideas 1, and I'm a little crazy, as you know, but we have a corporate account at Trade Ideas. Please like us on Facebook. My personal information is dan at trade-ideas.com, and you can get our support at info@trade-ideas.com. We have Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. If you get on that list, you will get a free Trade of the Week every Monday that gives you kind of a taste of our technology without anything. Tells you everything you need to do, and it's all based on the same AI that's bringing you the information we've presented. Thank you once again for getting in touch with us. The promo code, price alerts, 15% off month or year of premium, and 10% off first month of year standard. Okay? And it's all caps, price alerts. Thank you, everybody. Scott, is there anything I'm missing?
No, that's all good. Just a reminder, there'll be a recording up tonight or tomorrow morning, and everyone will get an email from GoToWebinar tomorrow with a reminder where to find it.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll see some of you later tonight in the Trade of the Week webinar. Bye.